Hi, this is Shadi and welcome back to another octagon analysis, and in this video I'm gonna be taking on Ronda Rousey. Now we all know that Ronda Rousey had an illustrious career in both judo and MMA. She won a bronze medal in the Olympic Games of Beijing back in 2008 and also won the UFC championship. And today we're gonna see what made her so successful, the arsenal of techniques used in the octagon that made her so lethal and tapping out multiple people. But we're gonna also see the throws that took her to the ground in order to get that tap and winning. So let's begin. So first we start with a very basic judo technique, which is the kezagatame or the hon kezagatame in this particular scenario, followed with a jujigatame, the armbar. Again, judo basics that will take you a very long way. First is the hon kezagatame. Let's check it out. Basically meaning the scarf hold where you wrap the head and pin the arm, and then you just use your weight and leverage in order to not let them escape. It is a very basic judo pin. People learn it as children, but yet here we can find it very effective in the MMA world. It's very rarely used in jiu-jitsu as well, which is makes me curious for some reason, but you can use it for a very offensive standpoint, for example the ground and pound like Ronda Rousey, or also you can use it as a choke like an arm triangle. You can also use it as an armbar position where you put the elbow on your resting thigh on the ground and then you pin with the other leg the wrist, which creates like an arm lever. And here you can see you can have different grips. You can wrap the head, you can use the collar, you can always switch to kind of like a side control position in order to hold them down here, as you can see, but it's all still considered kezagatame. Again, the basics will take you a very long way. And the Ronda Rousey signature, which is the armbar, again the ude hishigi jujigatame, a judo classic, very effective and also incredibly devastating and mortal technique being used. You can get it from anywhere: side control, mount, guard, all that stuff. It is a judo classic. Ronda Rousey clearly mastered it, destroyed a lot of people with it, getting the tap multiple times. So again, the kezagatame and the jujigatame as techniques to start off. See how the basics in judo will take you a long way. So as you can see, the clinch, everything that Ronda uses is clearly judo. It's not like Hoist or Khabib. It is different. Even the most basic of holds, she used it in the octagon, which shows how effective judo can be in any context you might put it in. So here again you have the hip tosses here, the harai goshi. Again, another armbar against Misha Tate. You can see that she has a lot of upper body clinch, so different to Khabib and Hoist. Here's spin out armbar. This is, we call it now the Ronda Rousey variation. So the first one we're gonna talk is the hip toss or the ogoshi. It's very good throw for women, as Kayla Harrison puts it, because women has like, for proportion standpoint, their hips are, first of all, they're lower and also they are wider, which can be very usefully used in order to load someone on them and achieving the throw. No gi needed. You can do it just naked and also get a very successful ogoshi. You don't need to do a lot of differences in order to get it without the gi. Basically the kuzushi is with the upper body clinch, like an underhook, overhook, etc. So again, a very classical piece of judo, the hip toss in general terms, or the ogoshi if you want to be very precise in terms of terminology. Again, Ronda uses it. The basics, very effective, and they will indeed take you a very long way. The ogoshi. So whenever someone thinks of judo, they think of hip toss and armbar and the scarf hold. So again, Ronda demonstrating them. Here we have the uchimata, the inner thigh reap, again coming from the upper body clinch. One of the greatest throws in judo, no gi needed, as Bas Rutten puts it. Here again, the uchimata, I showed it in my Fedor video. If anyone knows judo and goes for the octagon, they will indeed use uchimata, inner thigh reap. It has a large amount of variations to it. Here you can just stab with your foot and lift your opponent up. And with the clinch it becomes even easier because you don't need to pull on the gi and create like an imbalance, because as you are hugging or clinching and you go down, you immediately destroy their balance forward, and you all have to do is reap with the inner thigh and just create the takedown. That's all you need to do. So that's why in judo the clinch is somewhat forbidden, or you have limited time in order to get it, because once you clinch it's very easy to create the ippon or the takedown. So that's why it is forbidden. It's not because they don't want you to, like they want to hold the sports back like in other types of rules. Here you can have it like a spinning variation. You spin on your heel and you use the momentum of the spin in order to get the uchimata as you pull the sleeve and the lapel and you reap the inner thigh. So again, uchimata, classical piece of judo. Any judoka who goes into the octagon, Fedor, Ronda, any other, they will use the uchimata for sure because of its effectiveness and also the surprising factor of it, reaping between the legs and lifting up and getting the takedown, landing in mount, or the worst case scenario like a deep half guard. So the uchimata, inner thigh reap, a classical piece of judo being demonstrated here, both in judo, like here is an uchigari opening turned into uchimata. Kosei Inoue had an uchimata similar to this one. Here, like you pull, and then once they are on their knees, it's very easy to get the uchimata. Let's see it again. So here they go down on their knees, or like one knee. It's still considered standing. Here is the this is another analysis video done by I believe Fight Tips, and it says it's Tayotoshi. It was actually Harai Goshi. I showed it in my Fedor video. The Harai Goshi is different from the Tayotoshi. We're gonna see the Tayotoshi in another example of Ronda. The Harai Goshi means the sweeping hips. It is a very also effective throw of judo where you lift someone on your hips and sweep with the leg backward in order to have their legs collapsing on each other and basically kill all sorts of resistance to them. Here you can see it, and you just lift them with the hips, sweep the leg backwards, destroy the balance of the legs and make them collapse on each other, and they will spin out and fall to the ground effortlessly. Again, a very effective piece of judo. The sweeping hips, different from the ogoshi. The ogoshi where you just load someone on your hips and push with the knees upwards in order to create like a lever and put them on the ground. Here it's different. You lift with the hips, sweep the leg and kill any resistance by the legs of your opponent. Here a spinning variation like the uchimata, but on the outside. Here the kochigari, which is the minor inner reap, a very classical sweep, very effective. Again, credits to Fight Tips for putting like this a little bit of detailed video. Khabib used this one also. He used it against Al Iaquinta when his single leg takedown failed. So as you can see, it shows the background of their discipline. For example, Khabib was holding the leg, going for the takedown, shooting on the legs like a typical wrestler. However, Ronda Rousey gets it from the upper body clinch. A judoka will always go for the to dominate the posture and the upper body, and then goes for their sweeps, different than a wrestler. We saw this with Fedor when he was doing the major inner reap. Here we see Ronda doing like an upper body clinch and then going for the kochigari. Here you can see you can clip the foot, not just sweep the ankle. It has many variations, like a lot of judo techniques. It has a lot of variations. So as you can see, the gi is not so much needed as people claim to be, whether it is street fight, octagon, etc. Once you establish that deep contact in the upper body region, you can just sweep away or load on the hips or do uchimata, whatever you want to do. Here is the Kosoto Gake. I showed it again in my Fedor video, in my hoist video, in my Khabib video. It is a common takedown in everyone who's good in takedowns in the octagon. Shows how effective that takedown is, that everyone resorts to it. 2 fight tips. This is the Taiotoshi. You use your leg as a barrage, and then you drop them using either this the sleeve, or here you can use the wrist. Here's the Taiotoshi, different from the Harai Goshi as you showed. You use your foot as like a block, and then you use your hands in order to take their posture down. You can use collar grips, cross collar grip. You can only use the sleeve. Many variations to it. It's a teiwaza or a hand technique. You only use your foot as like a block. It's not like a sweep with the leg like the Harai Goshi. So I know judo terminology and technique can be a bit how do you say, complicated, but once learned, it is very important for your martial art culture, and also to understand the technique better. Here you can use both hands and just use your foot as a block, and in order to put them down. So you need the hands to create the Taiotoshi. It is a hand technique after all. Here people might mistake it for Taiotoshi for someone that doesn't know, but this is actually Sode Tsurikomigoshi, where you take the hand to the other side, you cross it, use your hips and load them and put them down. It is a hip technique, or a koshiwaza. It's called Sode, which is sleeve. Tsurikomi means lifting and pulling, and Goshi the hips. Sode Tsurikomi Goshi. You can grab the wrist, you don't need to grab the sleeve in the case of Ronda Rousey. The perk of this episode is going into WWE and see more judo tosses from Ronda Rousey. I know it's fake, but still it is a very good high caliber technique. I hope you enjoyed this in-depth analysis. If you have anything else to add, I will get to all of your suggestions when it comes to MMA and judo. I'm just going in order of the list. Again, if you have anything else to add as a commentary, share it down below. The comment section is wide open. This was Shadi, and thank you for again watching, listening, and interacting with me. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for listening.